What's going on, crypto people? It's Matt here from Crypto Coffee, back with another video. Today it's going to be about HEX, and I'm sure you're all super excited about that because we've had a little bit of a drought of the famous Richard Hart live streams, although I see he's got two scheduled for, I think, tomorrow and July 9th, so get excited about that. But I'm wearing my golden jacket today to kind of kick off 2020. I did in my last video too, but I wanted to wear it just, kind of in typical Richard Hart fashion almost, in the spirit of Mr. Hart himself. So I got the jacket, gold and black, bringing in the new year. And today I wanted to talk about a whole variety of things and take a look at HEX, but also take a look at ourselves and what should we be doing right now. That's what thought leadership is, right? I tell you what to do. But I'm also going to teach you how to think for yourself, too. So, in case you're a mindless drone, this is the perfect video for you. And it's also a great way to, get your mind off World War III and all that kind of stuff. So, let's get started, right? So, a big question is, where does the ETH go, blah, blah, blah. And we hear that over and over. And really, you're supposed to have no expectations. But just for funsies and just for shits and gigs, let's talk about where the ETH could go. Right? So, if you notice right here, we've got a simple Google search of how to buy Bitcoin. And this is a simple Google search that somebody might search to actually purchase Bitcoin. So, it's got the keyword Bitcoin, but it also has keyword intent, right? So, keyword intent is something that's very important with SEO and search engine optimization, because not only are you, if you're optimizing your website to come up first for Bitcoin, that's one thing. But there's a million websites out there that are related to Bitcoin. Now, if you're trying to sell Bitcoin, you want to capture a little bit lesser known, for example, a little bit less often searched phrase, but with a stronger emotion behind it. And that's kind of how the SEO game works with Google AdWords too. So somebody might pay for an ad and rank and pay for keywords such as how to buy Bitcoin. Let's see what some other things are. How to buy Bitcoin with cash, how to buy Bitcoin with PayPal. And now people have already obviously done this, right? As you can see here, we've got a lot of people like Coinbase and some exchanges that are pretty much taking up the whole front page of Google here. I mean, this is all I see in my view right now is ads for Coinbase and Bitcoin exchanges. And that's kind of what we would expect to happen with a market that's more evolved. But with HEX, it's a prime opportunity to rank or to gather up all these keywords with intent, such as how to buy HEX or where to buy HEX. Or you can even do some misspellings, like how to buy HEX. But you can see whatever letters right next to the H. So you might want to buy how to buy GEX, G-E-X, in case somebody mistypes it, right? And so this is the time period where somebody might be buying up these AdWords here and ranking them at the top of Google. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen, but just a thought, right? Because that would get HEX at the top of everybody's Google search, which I believe it already is. Let me check that out here. HEX brand is the first thing that comes up. HEX color codes. HEX is a pretty common 3-letter word, but the fact that hex.win is on the first page of Google with no AdWords at all, just pure SEO ranking, that's a pretty good sign, guys. It's a pretty good sign. Now let's say I do a keyword with buyer's intent, such as HEX price. HEX price prediction, that'd be a good one too. HEX price, we've got CoinMarketCap, because I'm sure CoinMarketCap is ranking all of their keywords about price. And you've still got HEX pretty high up here, right? Let's do HEX coin. HEX coin, yep, we've got hex.win is the very first on Google. Now, just to make sure that all of the possible potential keywords are captured, what somebody could do with the HEX, and I'm not saying they will because you're not supposed to expect anything, but they could pay for AdWords and Google Ads to be pinned basically at the top of the page for keywords like that. Now, what else could they do? Well, whoever owns all that HEX could buy hookers. They could definitely just buy a bunch of hookers, and that'd be pretty cool. I don't really care if they do or not, but they could do that. Now, they could also do Facebook advertising, right? So they could do Facebook advertising, and in lieu of that, Instagram advertising as well. So now, the issue with Facebook advertising, and the issue that I personally have had in the past trying to advertise a crypto-related product, is that Facebook was blocking a lot of my ads just for having keywords like crypto in them, not being a harmful product at all. So I think this route might be a little tough, and I don't even know if the real crypto audience is really on Facebook and Instagram as well. You don't really see a lot of crypto-related ads on Instagram these days. And there's a reason for that, right? So I used to sell coffee, and it was called Crypto Coffee. I had a website and everything. I still do. I mean, it's still up there, but crypto-coffee.org. We sell all kinds of gourmet coffee with cool, crypto-themed bags and crypto related flavors and blends. And even to sell coffee, I had to basically fight with Facebook about advertising on the platform, and I would appeal to their policy. I think I appealed about 4 times, and each time I got a ban. And they banned my my whole account in general from putting out these ads, right? And really, I was reading their policy right back to them, and every time, 4 times in a row, I said, "Hey guys, I'm not doing a cryptocurrency token sale, and allowed with permission. I'm not even doing a trading platform or mining or cryptocurrency. I'm literally just selling coffee," right? And they didn't give a shit. I mean, it was probably the algorithm too that blocks this kind of stuff automatically. And, all I could do is just keep trying to appeal it. Eventually, my account got approved, right? Because somebody actually on the other end, a human being, probably read my case and was like, "Oh, okay, it's just coffee." So they approved my account. Then I try to run an ad, and the individual ad itself gets banned. So I basically gave up on cryptocurrency advertising on Facebook and Instagram. I'm not saying this is not a good route to go. I'm just saying that maybe us crypto folks have a little bit of a different route that we take, especially when viewing our content, but also when receiving our advertising. But it would be great to see a HEX ad on Instagram. I just don't think it's realistic, right? So, I mean, they say you're allowed to, do blockchain technology information, tax services, of course, tax services, right? And events and education related to cryptocurrency. So maybe some of these easy, low-hanging fruit would be a good idea, but I don't know if I'd want all the money being spent or squandered on Facebook and Instagram. But hey, I don't know. Just telling you my personal experience, okay? Now, what else could they spend this Ethereum on? Whoever owns the Ethereum, right? Well, they could spend it on blow. They could definitely spend it on cocaine. You could see here Johnny Depp is really enjoying that cocaine, so I'm sure it's great. Or they could spend it on, banner ads. Banner ads, I think, are pretty up and coming. This is a screenshot from Telegram, from the Telegram channel, of an example of a banner ad that I think would actually be a really good idea to do a kind of a giveaway, right? So people love games, and we could easily gamify this experience by pooling together some of our HEX, putting it into a banner ad, and just really, pounding this home on various crypto websites, such as, CoinMarketCap. I mean, you could see with the kind of garbage ads that CoinMarketCap is already allowing on their website. I mean, crypto slots, like double your money when you trade with us. That is just like pure scam advertising, right? This is literally a degenerate gambling advertisement. So if banner ads allow this kind of crap on here, they're definitely going to allow HEX ads, which isn't even really, in my mind, a scam. But if you're watching this video, hopefully you have the same point of view. If you do think HEX is a scam and you're watching this far, you should probably stop watching and go spend your time in a better way. But I digress. So what else could they do with the HEX, right? I was thinking also, maybe if Richard wanted, he could go buy a castle, kind of like L. Ron Hubbard, and he could just sit up in his castle all day on his big pile of ETH and just laugh at all of us and just, really sit there and just wake up every morning just all excited that he scammed millions of people. And that's what he could do. That's his prerogative. right? So I don't know. You be the judge, right? You kind of make your own decision on what you think is going to be done with the hex. Whether or not Richard even owns it is still up for question, but that was just my 2 cents on the whole dilemma. Now, this video is going to kind of just be a stream of consciousness of other hex topics that I've been wanting to talk about. One of the other topics is something that I've actually been a little bit concerned with about hex, but not that concerned, is the truth engine feature right here. So basically that's the emergency end stake penalty, right? Which is a good idea overall, because it allows anybody that, doesn't follow through on what they said they were going to do and they unstake early, if they're trying to get out just to take a quick profit, they're going to be penalized really hard, right? And they're going to be penalized 1/2 of all stake days, minimum of 90, right? So if you haven't even staked for 90 days, you're going to get penalized for all of your stake days. It can hit the principal amount. So you can be penalized your entire principal amount as a user. The late end stake penalty, 50% of late end stake penalties, 1% of stake per week, and 14. Oh, this is a separate one, right? So this 50% late end stake is if you forget to unstake after your stake is up. But the emergency end stake penalty, being like this, I think it definitely incentivizes people to be honest with their staking. However, if the adoption amplifier is getting 50% of emergency end stake penalties, well, I mean, it basically just means that they have a 50% lower price to pay for emergency end staking. And now I don't think they would ever do that because they're still getting hit really hard, even with 50% going back to them essentially. Because there's still that minimum 90 day. There's still, you get paid a proportion of half of your stake days. But it's just like you get punished a little less bad if you are the adoption amplifier, because essentially half of that penalty goes back to you. That's the way I understand it. But if I'm wrong, please leave a message in the comments below. Still, I mean, it's less bad, but it's still very bad for anybody that tries to emergency end stake. Now I want to talk about the general wisdom of crypto YouTubers. This was a suggestion from the Telegram group, but I want to kind of explain to all you guys that crypto YouTube is just because that somebody has a cryptocurrency channel on YouTube does not mean that they are above anybody else in terms of intelligence, and it certainly doesn't mean that you should listen to them just because they have a platform. So you shouldn't even listen to me just because I have a platform, right? And I remember having a kind of a personal experience with this when I messaged Richard Hart himself, and he actually responded to me. I didn't say anything trollish or anything. I was just basically making a conversation. He responded to me, and I was like, oh, wow, that's weird. I mean, he's not some esoteric, mythical man. He's a real person, and he'll respond to you if you ask him a question, right? So, I mean, really, these people at the end of the day are just people, and just because you're looking at them through a magic rectangle or a desktop computer screen, and they're streaming and saying words back to you, it doesn't mean that they are any smarter than you. And in fact, a lot of you might even be smarter than some of your favorite YouTubers. But I think by virtue of having a platform in the first place, that gives people kind of an unnecessary or illogical amount of influence, right? So, I mean, Richard Hart doesn't even monetize his YouTube videos. And I want to make that clear too. So like Richard doesn't monetize his YouTube videos, and he clearly has no interest in making money from YouTube. I mean, as he's mentioned, he's already kind of a millionaire. He's already retired. He doesn't really need the money. But a lot of these YouTubers do. A lot of these YouTubers, as we've seen how everyone freaked out during the Christmas ban, they need that YouTube money, and they don't really have many other alternatives. That's why you saw the people that freaked out the hardest during the YouTube ban were the people that didn't have an alternative route, and they put all their eggs in one basket. So, I mean, that right there speaks a little bit to Richard Hart's character, I think, especially in terms of other people too. I mean, I'm not saying I definitely want to get monetized. I'm not going to lie about that. but I also have other routes and other things I'm pursuing, right? So this kind of YouTube channel is just for fun, right? But always be wary of YouTubers, because if they're making all their money from YouTube, then they also have more incentive to just say things that get an emotional reaction out of you. So really just try to think twice before you take everything too literally with these guys, okay? And also, furthermore, stop hanging on every single word that these guys are saying, right? So, and I'm saying this because of something I felt myself, and it was when Richard Hart stopped making videos for a period of about a week. I started to wonder, I wonder what he's up to. And I'm sure he's just busy working on the project, and as we can clearly see, he's got 2 live streams coming up soon. But it made me kind of double check myself, saying, wait, let's stop hanging on every last word that somebody said, and maybe just go get a hobby or go do something productive with your life. Stop waiting around for crypto YouTubers to tell you what to think, right? And that's what kind of the theme of this whole video, I think, is going to be. Think for yourself and stop waiting around for people to make you YouTube videos and for your thought leaders to fill your brain with whatever they think is the right thing, because then you're just going to be a lemming and you're going to end up falling off a cliff. And so I know a lot of us come to YouTube looking for financial advice. It's pretty ridiculous that we have to say stuff like, this is not financial advice, like, do your own research. Like, of course you should do that, right? But literally, we're all giving financial advice, and we're just trying to beat around the legal bush and, use jargon like, do your own research, and this is not financial advice. Like, it's so ridiculous and hypocritical, because it literally is. Like, you're coming here looking for somebody to tell you what to do, right? You're coming to YouTube hoping that someone's going to pump your bag for you. Whether you think it's that way or not, it's what a lot of people out there are doing. And maybe I'll lose subscribers for that, but that's just really the truth, the way I see it. I mean, that really leads me into the whole point of think for yourself and thought leadership. What does that even mean? It means you're leading someone else's thoughts. So you're either a thought leader, or you're a thought follower. And you can be both. I consider myself to be both. I like people to tell me what to think sometimes, because it's a confusing world out there. But I also try to make sense of it myself. And now I'm trying to make sense of things for you too. So hopefully I can clear a few things up. So it's really a double-edged sword with this whole thought leadership thing. Basically, you see people giving crypto predictions all the time. And what gets the most views is crypto, like 1 year, 5 year, and 10-year predictions, right? Like, what do you think it's going to be worth in 1 year versus much longer in the future, or even 1 week from now? But what I will say about predictions is it's much easier to predict something with a shorter time horizon than it is with a longer time horizon. And that just goes into the complexity of the universe and, like, stats and complexity theory in general. A lot of things might have a strange attractor associated with them, like the weather, for example. This is all coming from like chaos theory, which I'm not going to get into, but it's much easier to, knowing the initial conditions of something, to predict what it's going to do 1 or 2 days from now than it is 30, 50, 100, 1,000 days from now. And that's just due to the nature of the universe and the laws of entropy and the laws of chaos theory. So anyone that's trying to give you predictions in 1 or even anything longer than like 1 year terms, it should be taken as entertainment value and nothing more, right? Nobody knows what the price is going to do. And price is one of the hardest things to predict. We barely know what the weather is going to be next week, right? Let alone what the price is going to do 3 years from now. But we can speak to fundamental underlying truths, stuff like adoption, stuff like technology that exists today. But we really can't be predicting these things with any degree of reasonable accuracy. So take that for what it's worth. And some wise words that I just heard on an Andreas Antonopoulos video, who I'm also a really big fan of. Like Andreas, Richard, a few other people in the space I think are particularly smart. Andreas says, invest in yourself, because the most certain ROI that you can really see always happens when you're investing in yourself. And investing in yourself is a much more certain ROI than speculating, right? So we can speculate all day, and I'm speculating too. I love speculating as much as the next guy. I mean, I'm a degenerate gambler just like you guys, all right? But I'm also trying to invest in myself at every chance I can get. So if you're, hooked into an IV watching Richard Hart YouTube videos 24/7, maybe try learning a little bit about blockchain technology. Maybe try learning how to code, or at least making something of value to the world, because that's a much more certain ROI. Like, imagine if you learned about the internet in 1995 and learned how to code HTML and CSS and stayed on top of all the trends and, took some courses. Imagine how much more money you'd be making today at one of the big internet companies than if you just tried to divvy up all your hard-earned money and invest in some .coms that you weren't really ever sure were going to make it or not, right? So I bet that the guys that focused on learning ended up being more successful in the long run than the guys that tried to gamble their life away. And also, if you don't like where HEX is at right now, go do something about it. I'm making these videos to spread the good word about HEX, and maybe everybody else can too. I've got some other plans in the works as well, but I'd rather talk about them after they're actually done. But yeah, be the change you wish to see in the world. That was Gandhi, bros. So stay woke. All right, some of the pros lately. So people might be thinking that Richard not streaming so often is a bad thing. I think that's actually great. And you'll notice how quickly people forget about all the controversy when Richard's not out, making controversial YouTube videos, and how quickly people move on to the next thing. Not only in crypto, but in life in general. So people forget all the drama, and I think that Richard taking a break and probably working on things that I'm not going to say what I think Richard is working on, but I'm sure he's working hard in other ways, right? And a little bit into the psychology of trolls as well. So all those people out there trolling, whether you're in the HEX Telegram or you think it's fun to go in the Telegram and say, hey, don't lose all your money on this scam, like blah, blah, blah. It's like you're not really helping anybody, because those people that you're talking to, they've already made up their minds. And if anything, you're just alerting people about HEX that might not have otherwise even known about it in the first place, right? So I think I've said that before, but I just wanted to say it again here. If you are trolling just to get your rocks off and you think that's how you have fun, that's fine. You can do all the trolling you want, but you're just going to get banned from groups. And no matter how many new accounts that you make, you can get banned 1,000,000 times. And at the end of the day, the whole world has just kind of passed you by, and you're really just kind of a speck of dust in the grand scheme of things. So trolling really doesn't add any value at all. It just kind of gives you a brief moment of attention, and that's it. You get swept away in the much bigger current of the technology that is coming down the road. So kind of just wake up and step outside of your own viewpoint for a little bit. To really make a decision, we need to step outside of tribalism. It's very confusing these days when everybody's telling their own narrative, and we're kind of in this world where everybody has a platform and anybody can share their opinion. So there's an insane amount of nuance in the world right now, and it's confusing, right? And that's why we look to people like thought leaders to tell us what to think and what to do. But really just try to work on holding contradictory opinions in your head at the same time. And that's really how you're going to be able to navigate the whole HEX situation and the whole next decade and century in general. I mean, we're living in this whirlpool where everyone's narratives are kind of swirling together and getting all mashed up. And people are stressed out. People are anxious. They can't tell right from wrong. But if you can just try to be the best you can be and focus on what you think is the truth and do it for the right reasons too, and do it with keeping all of humanity in mind and thinking about what would be best for the most possible people, I think that can be your compass in navigating this kind of crazy troll-like world. And really just do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy and do what benefits other people. And at the end of the day, you'll be just fine. So let's take a look at some of the future numbers here, some of the coin market cap numbers. And just for shits and gigs, let's talk about what are some potential outcomes with HEX at various prices, right? So right now we've got HEX at 0.00000072. So right now we've got a circulating supply of 5 billion HEX, and because almost 90% of it is being staked, right? So 90% staked, 5 billion HEX at a price of 0.000006. I guess that's what we're getting from hexstat.com. Maybe that's more accurate. Maybe it's, I just clicked on that. It was a link to Binance or Bidesk. Okay, so the HEX price on Bidesk is 0.00006 and 5 billion circulating supply. That would put the market cap at around 300K. Now, where does 300K put us on the top charts? Because we really can't trust a lot of the coin market cap data yet. They still can't figure out the circulating supply. They still think the total supply is 2 billion somehow. So it's just not right. So let's go to the rankings again. And now 300,000 puts us at about ranking 1169. Nice. So, I mean, that's not high at all. But with even a 10x, so even a 10x would be 3 million. Actually, let's just go back and see some hypothetical scenarios. So if the price of HEX was, instead of 0.00006 and instead it was 0.001, so 1/1,000,000th of a dollar, that doesn't seem that crazy, right? 5 billion times 0.0001 would instead be 500,000, 5 million. So 5 million would take us all the way up to 5 million puts us at number 409. I don't even know why I'm really doing this right now. I guess it's just to entertain you guys, because people love talking about price predictions. But yeah, I mean, if HEX was 1/1,000,000th of a dollar, it would already be 409, which would really put it on the radar of legitimacy in terms of being an actual coin on CoinMarketCap. So I think as soon as we get this good data flowing in here and reliable exchanges are adopting this, then I think we'll start to see the legitimacy established, and then it'll be more of a game of climbing up the ranks of like the 500 to 200 cryptocurrency, and then whatever, a year, 2 years from now, when that starts to happen, I think shit'll really hit the fan, and you'll have a bunch more controversy and a bunch more people getting onboarded that pump the price up, because at a price of even 1 penny. At a price of 1 penny with a circulating supply of, let's say, 600 billion and 90% are staked. So you've got 60 billion circulating at 10 cents. That puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6 billion of a market cap, right? So 6 billion of a market cap would be that'd be number 3, okay, as of right now. And I guess, as Bitcoin rises and as all cryptocurrencies rise, the market caps collectively get higher. But that'll push the price up of HEX relative to the rest of them faster, just because it has so much more room to grow, that it'll get to this top area, I think, a lot faster, especially as the next bull market comes in, right? We're making a lot of assumptions here. We're making an assumption that there will be a bull market at all. Right? Bitcoin could crash and go to zero. So I see a lot of people complaining that they didn't get their mad gains in the first 30 days of the project. But what I can tell you too is, I mean, shouldn't it be impressive enough that it's even on exchanges at all? I mean, it's already on 10 exchanges, and normally it takes a lot longer for coins to even get listed on an exchange, let alone have 10 exchanges available in the first 30 days. So I really don't know what we're expecting. There will be a bunch of inflation, 500 million coins a day. for the next year, unless somebody claims a lot of coins and that number goes down. But basically, yeah, in terms of like future ROI, expect at least 1 year for inflation supply to stop, and then maybe getting listed on a few more legitimate exchanges too. But really, guys, we've got a working product, an existing smart contract, a bunch of exchanges on day one. A lot of these coins out here don't even have a product and don't even have any exchanges, right? So kind of just be happy with what you have. One other thing too is I wanted to talk about share price over time. And you might have heard the phrase in HEX that share price only goes up. One thing I wanted to clarify too is that a lot of people, myself included, was a little bit confused about this at first, because share price is not the same as HEX price, right? So when you buy HEX and you stake it, you get a certain amount of shares. And what share price only goes up over time means is that you could see right here that the price of 100 million shares is becoming more and more HEX every day. And you might be wondering why your number of shares is so damn high. It's in like the trillions, right? Well, it had to be this way because of really just the numbers. But right now, one HEX will get you about 100 million shares at first. But the number of shares that you have determines the end ROI that you get from ending your stake. And basically, because this price only goes up, when you stake HEX, you essentially are like kind of buying shares, and those shares expiring mint you additional HEX at the end of your stake. So if it only goes up over time, then somebody that stakes 100 days from now is going to have to buy these shares at a higher price, right? And they're going to have to buy these shares at a higher price, meaning that they're not going to have the potential to earn as much interest at the end of their stake, no matter where in the timeline they are. So somebody that got in earlier will never ever make more than someone getting in later and staking later for the same amount of time or longer, due to the fact that the share price only goes up. So it doesn't mean share price only goes up over time doesn't mean that HEX price only goes up over time. So I think that might be a little misleading especially to the absolute noob. But share price just ensures that you getting in early only gets you a better deal at the end of your stake than somebody getting in later than you. So that's it, people. What did we learn today? Think for yourself. Don't be a troll. Get a hobby. Eat healthy. Go to the gym. Buy HEX and just wait. Just chill out and go do something productive, either for HEX or for another project you're working on. Listen to Richard Hart's live streams to keep you occupied. But other than that, leave me a message in the description below about what you want to see a video about next. And have a good rest of your days, guys. And enjoy your 2020. Stay woke.